told you, in this video we will talk about directed numbers and orders of operation. Now what does directed number mean? Directed numbers are usually the numbers which have a direction. Alright, now how can a number have direction? Let's talk about negative numbers, so we'll get in details there. Now negative numbers are numbers. First of all, these negative numbers are real numbers. Okay, I'm using the wrong color. It should be the real numbers or the negative numbers. Alright, and then negative numbers must be less than 0, of course. Okay, so these are the basic conditions of a negative number. Now how do I give a better example? Now as I said to you, it represents a direction. How does it represent a direction? So if I consider this direction to be the positive direction, okay, so the other one, the opposite direction, would be considered as a negative direction. So there it is where the use comes of negative numbers. Okay, so if you want me to give a better example, I would give an example of a okay, so if I consider this as the sea water level, okay, the top of the sea, I mean above the water level, it would be positive direction, and below the sea level, that would be negative direction. Okay, so these are the few examples where we basically use negative numbers. There are plenty a lot more. Okay, now let's get into a problem where we have to solve it basically. So if I have a problem, 7 plus 4 minus 2 equal to what? Now there are two operations here, addition and subtraction. Now which one do you do first? So before we do this, I want you to introduce to a new rule called BIDMAS. Now this BIDMAS helps us to identify the orders. Okay, so which order do we do? BIDMAS. So B stands for brackets. Okay, so whenever you have a bracket, you have to open that one first, and then I stand for indices. Indices means powers or superscripts. Okay, and then D for division, M for multiplication, of course, A for addition, too lazy to write the full form, subtraction. Okay, now here in this case 7 plus 4 minus 2, we have got to do the addition first according to this rule over here. Okay, so 7 plus 4 would give me 11, and then we have to put the minus 2, that would give me 9. Alright, so if I give a few more examples, I think that would be much more clear. So let me move on to the next page. So here we have let's say 10 minus 3. Now we have to open the brackets first according to the BIDMAS. B comes first. Now to open this bracket, there is another condition. This bracket actually represents multiplication. Okay, so if you have something in this form, x bracket y, that means x into y. Sorry for this one. Okay, so x into y. So this here means minus into minus 3. So first of all, let me say you the multiplication's law for the, what's going on, multiplication laws here. So when we multiply positive into a positive, that would give me a positive. Okay, and when we multiply negative into negative, that would give me a positive as well. And then if I multiply positive into negative, that would give me a negative. So these laws you have to remember. Okay, so in this case we have got one negative into another negative, so 10 into minus 3, that would give me 10 into positive 3, that would be 30. Alright, so it's it's very simple. What you have to do is just remember these laws, and that's all actually. Okay, now what if I add something? If I have negative 2 here, okay, and then I add another negative 4, what would that give me? Equal to what? That would give me negative 6. Now how to do this? actually you just have to add the both numbers, and then just put the sign of the bigger number before the answer. Okay, so here 4 is the bigger number and it has got a negative sign before it, so I just put 6 minus before 6. Okay, so actually how does this make sense if I give an example? So let me consider I have few negative stuffs, whatever it is, talented particles. Okay, so I have 2 negative particles here and then 4 more negative particles here. So negatives would be adding up together to form 6 negative particles, right? So that's how it actually works. Alright, now if I have -4 plus 2, what would I do? Okay, in this case the answer would be -2. Now why is it? I have to subtract this 2 and then put the sign of the bigger number, right? So here in this case the bigger number is 4, so I just put a negative before the answer. Now how this makes sense is if I have 4 negative particles here, okay, and 2 positive particles, what would happen? This positive and negative would cancel out together to be left us with 2 negative particles, right? So this 2 negative particles is this one. Okay, so I think that would be enough for this video, and I'll talk about this direct numbers and operations a bit more detail in the next videos. Okay, so this is basically the first part of the video. Okay, so do like this video, I mean do put a thumbs up in this video if you really liked it or it helped you in any way, and consider subscribing.